All right, Donnie, it's me, Wheels Up. How we doing? I love that me and Donnie have a cadence. When we go live with these reviews, we waste a little time. Gov, he's a fancy boy. He likes to do the whole opening. He likes to count down. He likes to be prepared. Me and Donnie just like to give it to you transparently. But speaking of which, Donnie, it just so happened to work out that we do have these NBA playoffs going on right now. This is kind of basketball season for us. We mentioned how we're big fans. We even streamed a basketball draft earlier this season. Unfortunately, we didn't get time to talk about a lot of NBA just because of the way the schedule works. We did a couple live sweats and walkthroughs, but you were saying that you wanted to touch on some of these series matchups, which I thought was a good way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll talk about the game that's on right now. It's a great game, 5-point game, 3 minutes left. I thought Indiana was better than Milwaukee going into it. I thought I know Halliburton was voted by the players as the most overrated player in the league. Crazy to me, by the way, that the players think that. But I mean, to me, this is what Halliburton does. Like he not as much talent as you'd think is around him, but he wins. I mean, he wins with these guys. That's all that matters. Like in the inverse with that was what we saw with Cade Cunningham last year, where you know the talent's there. We see it, and they couldn't win because you didn't build properly around it. Halliburton got the perfect team around him to just be consistently there in games. So
you're also a Halliburton fan, though. Like I will say,
I'm a huge Halliburton fan.
You might be the biggest Halliburton fan I know.
I have 3 point guards that I love to watch. It's Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, Luka Doncic. Those are my favorite point guards. They're just, to me, I know they're not the best at what they do. Obviously, Steph is Steph. But out of just a point guard, that's what I like.
This is an evergreen topic I have to mention off of this game, though, because I'm curious what you would say. What do you think this award says about the players and what they're voting for? Is this like a vote you think where it's like we're going to mention a star player that just gets too much commercialized attention? Is this like a coach that just like favors a player and like or like the referees baby them? Like, what do you think this says?
I have no idea why, because I understood what everyone was saying when Rudy was winning it. I understood it when Trae Young was winning it. I got it. This is the first time I just don't understand. I really can't comprehend how Tyrese Halliburton is considered the most overrated player in the NBA by fellow players. Like, I honestly, that's the thing. It's not what the media is saying. It's what the players are saying. So they feel that way. That's just weird to me. I mean, they know what they're talking about. They go up against these guys, night in and night out. They obviously know what they're saying when they say it. It's just like, I can't believe that's how people feel about Tyrese Halliburton. But he's like one of my favorite players to watch in the whole NBA.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I don't think it's actually a skill for skill, like actual power ranking. And we're going to talk about power rankings with the UFL pretty soon too, because I do think like that gets misunderstood. Because like if I was going to say the most underrated NBA player, obviously it'd be like a bench warmer guy who barely sees any minutes, who maybe the coach likes, like a, kind of a Haslam of many years in my childhood, or someone like that, or like a Vince Carter a couple years ago where he was like still playing, but it was more of a token thing. It feels like they kind of take a star player and give him this award. It does seem kind of strange to me. Just how it's sorted.
Well, no, I've understood the last 5 years, it's been a strict battle between Trae Young and Rudy Gobert winning this award every year. And I got why they said it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still like it feels like you're almost like picking a schoolyard fight with like a star player in the NBA, though. Like you still have to be a star, and then they get to call you, overrated. They're not doing that with like an eighth man who doesn't really belong on the bench. It always seems like a star that just gets like too much attention for some reason.
I don't even feel like Tyrese gets attention like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would, it was kind of how I would have thought. I would give it to Trae Young because I still think like he gets the commercial attention, and it's not warranted sometimes.
Well, Well, like Trae Young was on the list for most overrated. He was third. But like Tyrese Halliburton was run away with it. He had almost 15% of the votes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to spend too much time on the topic.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you looked at his totality, he played for the Sacramento Kings. Like he wasn't in a big market. He never really got the commercial attention. So I kind of agree with you there. So we did go on kind of a tangent there, but like how else are you enjoying these series? Like, is there any other series you want to point out?
I think like the only thing I'm interested in the Boston series is we know Jaylen Brown's got that knee stuff, and now Jason Tatum's got a bone bruise. We'll see how they handle that in his wrist. It shouldn't be more than a week time that he needs to miss. He shouldn't miss more than one game. But even if they baby it, it's probably a week at most that he misses. I don't think it affects the series, but I think it affects how we look at Boston a month from now when it comes to, are they a finals contender? Well, I mean, they've been playing basketball pretty much, they've 5 straight conference championships now. They've had the 2 Olympics in that time that most of their players have been to. That's tough on your body. And eventually Boston's going to break down. Like, that's just how it is.
It is kind of like to bring it back to football, it's like the Kansas City thing. We know that Kansas City will always be a competitor because they have the Patrick Mahomes effect. They have the star players in the right positions. Quarterback means a lot in the NFL. And so, like, with Tatum and Brown, with how young they are and how much chemistry they have and how well they play together, like, and just their superstar talent, and guys to buy in, like White's bought in, Pritchard's bought in. They're not trying to play above their role.
Pritchard just won 6th Man of the Year, by the way. That was
like, Pritchard's not saying like, "Hey, coach, start me," or "Hey, I deserve to be a starter somewhere." He's like, "No, this is my role. I'm going to be like the Manu Ginobili. I'm going to be the best 6th man on a superstar team." And so, like, but you're right. But fatigue is a real thing. Speaking of which, if you guys don't know, I love Zach Lowe. He's actually back with the Ringer. He got laid off by ESPN, which I thought was a mistake. It's actually one of the NBA podcasts I really enjoy. I think he could be a general manager in the league, Donnie. That's how smart he usually is. He was talking, I think, this week with Howard Beck, and they were talking about how they think maybe the first round should be a 5-game series, just so you don't get because with the plan, you're talking about, games played, rest, all that, but like, how much upset are we really seeing? Like, for example, the Memphis Grizzlies, or like, do we really think that, the Celtics will get upset? I like
if we think back to it, we're 2 years. I think it's 2 years. We're like 2 years removed from the Heat being the 8th seed and going on to well, I guess. Like, it happens. Let's not act like we don't see it.
Yeah, it happens enough.
I mean, the Rockets Warriors series. Most people have the Warriors winning that series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now, granted, the Rockets, I don't know, but that series has been good so far.
And look, I would rather have like just a blowout game, even if it's a 30-point blowout game, which is probably your worst playoff outcome.
51 the other night. Sorry, Grizzlies.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have that, every other year with like a really bad matchup, whether it be Oklahoma City and the Grizzlies. Because in my generation, Donnie, that was the Warriors team that upset Dirk Nowitzki. When they were the number 1 seed, the 8th seed from the Warriors upset them, and that meant a lot to the community. That meant a lot to the crowd. I think
the We Believe Warriors was a good time. Like,
yeah, very good.
No, I think it's. I can't imagine ever bringing it down past under 7 again because the league's so close. This year, yes, the Thunder are clearly the most dominant team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
They've been inching their way towards that for a while.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I don't believe they're going to be the ones there in the end, but I don't know if I can even say.
Like, I don't want to be a fair weather fan with it coming to the seeding. Like, this year, it looks like, oh yeah, the series has gone on too long, but I kind of like that the NBA is a bit different. I mean, I even kind of like baseball, how they're like one and done, like, or college. March Madness is like one and done. Even though it's not my preferred format, I get it. Like, it's kind of built into the brand. Like, I feel like if they switch the seeding, or not the seeding. If they switch the series records, it would really mess things up.
Yeah, and I agree, but like I don't care to see, the Thunder should win this series. They're the 1 seed, but like there are some years which we've had, especially on the Eastern Conference side, where the 1 seed only won like 50 games and the 8 seed won like 42. And that's not a huge gap. It's just not.
Yeah. And if we're being honest, just quickly, the play-in game is all commercial profit. Like that's why
I
they
love
do
the
it.
play. I love
it too, but
I know people don't, but
if we're being honest, we love it because we're basketball hardcores, Donnie. We're gonna watch anything. We watch the UFL. Like we're sports hardcores. Like if we're being honest. And sure, DraftKings does help it, to bring this full circle. Like that's another reason they do the playing game because they're like, hey, we can sell this as a side tournament.
Yeah.
And it works. I view it as like a serving size of a meal. Like I didn't cook the meal, but I'm still going to be able to enjoy it. Like sure, maybe there's some things they could do differently, but I'm enjoying the NBA. I think that this kind of Cinderella moments have to happen organically, and sometimes you're going to get bad blowouts. I just think some of these series are overrated with how much.
There's 3 more series that I really want to hit on because they've been so fun to watch, and it feels like any night either team can win. The Nuggets Clippers. I mean, oh my God, what fun that's been! I'm sure you've been dialed into it with Jokic.
Oh yeah,
that's if James Harden and Kawhi Leonard play this way, they might have a chance at the ring. Honestly.
Yeah.
And Jokic is, first of all, Russell Westbrook in that last game where he was able to make all those plays and help win. The firing of Mike Malone really did work. It gave a huge jolt to this team that Michael Porter Jr. got benched in game 1 and Russ was able to make an impact. He got benched for Russ. I mean, I don't think Michael Malone makes that decision. I don't think he would have ever benched Michael Porter Jr.
Probably not. I don't think so.
Now that's Porter, a credit to the ownership.
Yeah, Porter did get hurt last.
He got benched in game 1, and then game 2 he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. So that obviously influenced it because I do think watching that game they were going to go with Porter, but I guess we'll never know. But I really do.
He did play better. Like Porter got benched because he wasn't playing well. But Russ, when he's out there at the end of games, granted, there's some bonehead decisions. You live by Russ, you die by Russ. Good old saying. But when he no one on the court gives more heart than Russ. And that's what you got to give him.
And which is what actually woke up Porter's heart, too, to actually care. Like, you could tell, I think in last night's game, he got 16 rebounds, for example. And, I know, like, these stats won't matter in a couple of days, so, like, just use it as anything. Like, it clearly was a motivator. Like, we can say that. You can watch the rest of the series in a couple of days, and you can say, like, he was motivated by that. Like,
you cannot watch the way Russ plays and not be – and at this level, where these guys are obviously love basketball a lot, not be a little bit driven by it. Even the opposing team is going to be driven by the amount of energy Russ brings.
Well, I think that's a good transitional point, though, in the crossroads of we can talk about multiple series here. We got the Clippers and the Nuggets. We got the Lakers and the Timberwolves, and people were like, well, based on the records and opportunities, the Lakers get Luka later in the season, so like would they have been this low in the seeding? Did Minnesota get unlucky to get the look? I don't care because if you're going to win a championship, you have to play good teams anyways, no matter if it's in the first round.
Well, the Lakers are the 3 seed. I mean, the Lakers are playing the 6 seed. They're supposed to win this. Granted.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like they're both really good teams. I feel like the seeding talk.
The West seeding is different. The West seeding is like there's legitimately 7 teams coming out of the West that could win a ring this year.
Yeah, but what I'm asking that maybe you do because you're more of a math guy, you're more of a stats guy than me. I don't care about the seeding at all once it starts.
I mean, I care about it in the sense of hey, the Lakers have home court or had home court advantage going into it. They don't anymore. Like I care about that. playing. I don't even know what it's called. I still just think of it as Staples Center. Playing in whatever the hell arena they play in now. That's a lot of energy that does help when you're playing a playoff game.
Yeah.
But
I
the
really
narrative is game one, LeBron feel out game. It's always he always loses game one, and then he's like 22-3 when he loses a game one.
see,
Which is I don't buy into that much, but
I love that you have like a magnetic brain for these kind of stats. They literally mean nothing to me. Like
that stat I think is stupid, but it is. I get what they mean by saying the LeBron feel out game because it is. LeBron does not give everything on game one. It does kind of seem like he's coasting.
To be fair, if you talk what we love about Sports Donnie, and you combined it, we'd probably be the perfect fan. Because I feel like all these like obscure stats that mean nothing, and I don't factor the numbers in it enough. So, but if you could combine us, we'd be great.
Knicks Pistons. Last one basketball we're going to talk to. We look at our review. Knicks Pistons. I haven't been too dialed into it because I love the Pistons in this series. I don't think the Knicks are very good. I don't think they are as good as their record sets. I should say.
Look, they're
better than the bottom end, but I don't buy into the Knicks. And Thibodeau really looks like he's reached his ceiling as a coach. Like this, he gets these teams up to this playoff level, and then he doesn't adjust ever.
Look, man, you give Tibbs a gas tank, and he uses every drop of that gas tank before his management of the roster is the only issue I have with him. I actually think he's the smartest X and O's coach we have in the league.
But he doesn't adjust. You get in this. If his offense is stopped, oh well, we're going to keep running that offense. It's like,
yeah,
I know he's smarter than that.
I think he is honestly one of the best X's and O's coaches in the league. I just have a major problem with his load management decisions. Like
he put the floor of his teams is so high, but the ceiling is so low.
Well, I mean, we should be applauding a Cat, for example, for playing as many games as he did this season. But he still ran Cat with knee injuries later in the season, 40 minutes a game. Like I understand it's your system, but at some point you got to realize, hey, I can adjust. I do think there's an evolution to being great. And yeah, he's been great in the past. He deserves his flowers. But at some point, it's like, dude, you're not going to adjust at all. Basically, I just think that's a mistake. I will say, though, I think the Pistons have the best player of the series. If you looked at, you could argue Brunson maybe is better than Cade, but I don't think so. And so I always favor the team that has the best player amongst the two teams. And the only time that the Pistons looked really bad was in that fourth quarter of the first game when they lost, when they had a 20-0 run basically and lost that game. That first game they played better than them in the first quarter, played better than them in the second quarter, definitely dominated the third, and then lost the fourth in the first game. But then they rebound. I just think they have more. I think they have the best player.
Well, so. I mean, the Knicks, they're an interesting team. They haven't beat anyone good this year. If you look at their matchups, when they play the good teams, they don't win. And that's a problem going into the playoffs when people say that about you. And now the Pistons, if you combine all their games together, the Pistons are 4-2 against them. The Pistons dominate these matchups against the Knicks.
And the Lakers get all Hayes for running a small lineup. I don't. I know that Josh Hart can rebound and he's really tenacity and has all that, fire and energy and everything. But I feel like throwing him in for rebounds, it's like they do it too much.
Well, Josh Hart's a very good defender anyway. But, I mean, Cade was bullying whoever he matched up. He would look at game one, he was awful. He did not have a good game one. Game two, Cade Cunningham came out and he had a mission. He wanted to prove himself. He did.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't even have one assistant at halftime, I believe, Donnie. He put his head down and he was like, I'm going to the rim.
I think honestly we have two series this round. I mean, the two teams this playoffs who are probably going to end up firing their coaches at the end of the season. I think Thibs might be out on his way out if he can't win this series. If they lose in round one, he's probably gone. or at least he should be, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
And then Doc Rivers, if he's down 2-0, and you got to at least bring it to 2-2. But being down 2-0 is not a good sign.
Man, he had such a cushy job with ABC too. Like looking back at it, he might regret that because I don't know if they'll hire him back at
someone. But no, Doc Rivers, if you can't get out of the first round, you're gone again, and that's like his 20th team. It feels like in my lifetime.
Yeah,
I don't know how he kept his job after last year, because last year was kind of, I know there was injuries, but like last year was even an ugly way to finish, and all the excuses he makes is so ugly.
It's true. And by the way, if you guys aren't interested, I'm going to try to timestamp this. If I remember right, I'll put it down in the timestamp. If you're not into basketball, sorry, me and Donnie have been trying to talk more basketball recently, just personally. So like, stick with us a bit. This is a bit of our show as well.
We're about done. Yeah,
we are going to show you some diversity from time to time. So I'm not apologizing for the basketball topic, but you now have the timestamp of 20 minutes. We talked about basketball.
21 minutes. Now we go over to review UFL.
And I brought up a lineup review before I show you our losses this week. Actually, I ended up making a small bit of profit because of the sports book. And I kind of want to mention that on my way out of this conversation as well, kind of as we wrap up. I was speaking to Double J. We reviewed Double J's lineup because he had great success in the contest, winning the contest twice, literally taking first in the mini-max. And even he said he didn't know if he was going to keep playing because he loved the UFL product on it, but he didn't know if contests were worth it that much anymore, outside of the fun factor. Just because of the contest size, because of the prizes available, he honestly thought that, and I'll talk about it. I'll give FanDuel credit. FanDuel isn't running any contests, but they are running props on their sportsbook. He thought that the prop market was really fantastic. We saw the most props of any time this season. I think FanDuel had 18, DraftKings had like 12. So they are getting into the UFL. It's just they're putting very little into the actual game of DFS, which is interesting. And my last point here is the UFL signed a deal with Underdog, which we use for NBA best ball. So that's what made me think of it. They signed a deal with Underdog, and they're going to be sponsoring basically their championship game. So the UFL is okay with these gambling companies. I don't know why The Rock or any of their investment groups haven't just said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run a couple free contests for the UFL. We're going to boost these prize pools up a bit. I just think that would be a smart move. I don't know why they haven't done it. Maybe I'm wrong though. I'm not a marketing guy. I do like the topic, but I've never ran a company, so maybe I'm speaking out of school. It just seems like a smart move that they haven't taken advantage of. Am I wrong, Donnie?
I mean, I don't know the gambling side of it. And what the profit margins for the leagues are.
So. Deal with the Underdog to be like their title sponsor for the championship game, but these contests are not. I know we do DraftKings, but like you could use any. Like honestly, I have no sponsorship deal. If the best contests were on FanDuel, I'd play over there. But I will play the UFL though because I like the sport. I told you guys at the start of this season, like the UFL doesn't have to sell me anymore. I like the UFL. Like it doesn't have to be compared to the NFL for me. I like it.
I mean, I know when I went to the UFL game, there was a lot of BetMGM like ads thrown in my face, and that was at the game personally.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be honest.
Maybe they have side things that we don't know about. Like maybe the Stallions just are a BetMGM team.
It could be
if they're allowed to do that.
And I love game theory and betting and having a bit of a sweat. But even I think like the gambling and the ecosystem of sports and gambling have become so closely married that it bothers me. I'll be honest. It does bother me how often the odds get mentioned and everything. It even happens in the UFL.
The UFL does it a lot.
Yeah, the UFL like bought into it. I get it. Like it happens in MMA. Katie Nolan was talking about on her podcast. She was watching a hockey game, And the final call of the hockey game, it was like a really exciting moment. I don't follow hockey, so this is a good example. Just to prove
It was not an exciting moment. It didn't affect the game at all.
No,
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, go ahead. If you know it.
It was an empty net. A team was down by 2, and they
Yeah.
scored
Yeah.
They just scored the goal, and it happened to change the spread. It hit the spread, and that's all you can talk about. It was just like a random garbage time goal that was. I don't know if you saw the clip of it. It is kind of amazing. It went in by a 1/10 of a second, if that. And they had to review it for the sports book.
Well, the clip I was talking about was how the announcer just got really excited, and he went on a 3-minute diatribe about how if you bet it, you were the luckiest guy, and this once in a lifetime thing happened.
That was all there was to talk about.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, it did not affect the game at all. It wasn't a record. It was just this guy just got a goal with a 1/10 of a second left. Really fun, but it didn't affect the game in any way. It just affected some people's pockets.
Speaking of effects, to get onto the UFL, Donnie, we saw a lot of injuries. I felt like the first injury was on the very first play for the Battlehawks with the quarterback, Manny Wilkins, which I was like, oh, wow, this is going to affect a lot. It's going to affect Sailors, rushing totals. It's going to affect the whole game. And then we loved Mac Duggan. We talked about it in week 1. If you guys want to go back and watch, we've kind of given you the UFL breakdowns every week. So we were high in Max Duggan and thought he might win the job. So I immediately grabbed my phone thinking okay, this is big news. And I swear a lot of quarterbacks went down this week. A lot of wide receivers went down previous weeks with Ty Scott. I had heard that this was a problem with the UFL in previous seasons, and we didn't really see it. I mean, we've seen some injuries, but maybe it's actually starting to pile up now where it's if these teams don't have depth, they might have problems. I mean, if we wanted to do some forecasting, we haven't seen the MVP of last year at all, Hakeem Butler. Now they're nursing him along, and
Well, the MVP was Adrian Martinez.
But, yeah, that's right. Because Butler won. He won an award. I think it was
he won something.
Yeah. So they did that NFL thing where it's one guy won the MVP, the other guy won the offensive performance of the year. So, but my point is are we getting to the point where we're missing talent? I mean, we did see our first trade, which I thought was interesting because it helped both teams. I think the Stallions' offensive line is really dominant now. Or not the Stallions, excuse me, the Michigan Panthers.
See, my only thing is with that, the league is not. I'd be more worried about if I'm a player. Does this league have enough? Is it not medical personnel, but preparation, injury prevention type doctors? The NFL really has a lot of injury prevention methods. Is that something we're missing with the UFL? Would be my question.
I mean, just look at how many outs we got here.
I know it's a lot. And
we're just looking at quarterback.
Go to quarterback specifically, yeah.
That's what I was just at. But yeah, he's on the IR. We lost Etling. They signed Brandon Silvers, Houston signed Brandon Silvers. Now, if Silvers starts, I might actually play some Brandon Silvers. I remember him.
Silvers actually play before?
Yeah, he played in the XFL. I might actually take a chance.
I know I recognize the name. I just don't know when he last played.
I'm trying to think. He definitely played for one of the XFL.
You know where he played? Oh, that's interesting. He played for that Sea Dragons team. The Seattle Sea Dragons?
Yeah, that's right. He split time.
Oh, see, that's a good name. I knew I remembered it, but I didn't know from where.
Speaking of which, Case Cookus came off cold because of some of these injuries. Literally did not get a warm-up snap or anything. We need you. He comes in and throws 2 passes, one of which being a 36-yard corner route was an absolute dime, Donnie. The legend of Case Cookus talking about spring football and just people that love it. I'm telling you, I'm a real fan. If I can pull Case Cookus, that means I'm a fan of the UFL. And to see him come in. So I know Gov's talked about it a lot. And he's like, Donnie, Logan, this this is the purpose of the league. It's meant to be a development league. I mean, Gov has yelled at me about it. It's like you can have favorite players in this league, but the whole point is to develop the guys to the next level. And I get that, but it does seem like we're starting to see a domino effect with these injuries.
Well, what's really going to hurt this league specifically, I think, is NIL. NIL's going to not for the. It's already hurting the NFL. The NFL's already said, man, the draft just isn't as deep as we do. That's the second year in a row we've heard that, and we're going to keep hearing that for about 4 years. It's going to be, hey, this guy's not coming out this year. He's going to stay, and that's going to keep happening till we get in that rhythm, and eventually the talent will be better off for it. But for now, we're going to hurt for about 4 years of these drafts, and that really hurts the lower end league that's like, okay, where do we go now?
And the point of doing these reviews for me has always been like, what can I tell you about the next week? So that's always why I want to bring up these injuries, because I think you hit on a very good point earlier, Donnie, when you said like, what's the medical information and the medical doctors and how much healthcare are they really getting? Because we don't get the information as often as we would on Twitter the night before an NFL slate. Like, again, not trying to compare it to the actual game, because I know the games are different, but like Adam Scheffler or any of these NFL reporters would be able to break down news, be like, I saw so and so in the blue tent this week at practice. He's looking at like a 70% chance of playing. In this league, we don't even know starting a lineup sometimes like 10 minutes before the game, and I understand it's like the NBA kind of frantic pace. So I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. That does bake into when we get lucky or when we have to really take advantage of who do we follow when it comes to beat reporters. But it does hurt that we don't even get full starters. And now DraftKings doesn't update the outs a lot of times. I know you talked about that personally last week. I don't know.
Like I said, with the injuries happening so much right now, I mean, the UFL has a bad injury bug, and there are just years that this happens. But like, the only question that leaves me is, are we doing enough injury prevention? Because the NFL does a lot of injury prevention.
Yeah.
And the UFL can only offer so much.
It's true.
That's the problem.
And I had a problem with it a couple of weeks ago. They mentioned on the broadcast how the UFL was meant to be like a development league. It was meant to be a stepping stone. And I think it was Roger's brother was like, basically the guys want to get to the NFL. And apparently a lot of people had problems with that. But I love that transparency, Donnie. It is a development league. Like, they do want to get to the NFL.
Well, I think an interesting thing for Jordan Rodgers to cover it, I feel like Jordan Rodgers probably covers it more so because it's like he probably wishes that he had that as a player because he needed that coming in.
That I'm glad you said that, because that was my read too. It's like, I think he's giving this league a compliment. He's saying like, this is a great investment for these players. But everyone took it like, oh, he's basically like shooting down his own paycheck by, saying they want to go to the NFL. No, I think he was just being honest. And that's what we've always loved about the UFL. We love the access cameras, the coaches on the walkie-talkies, stuff like that. I feel like that's what makes this league so cool. So
can you pull up last week's lineup so we can look at it?
Oh, yeah, I should do that.
Yeah. I missed out on most of the games last week. I know I told you about it and just told you to keep me updated. I lost power all of Saturday, or not power, but I lost internet all of Saturday. We had somebody burn down a telephone pole. So I didn't have any access to watch these damn games. I missed a great most of the overtime game for the Nuggets. I was able to turn it on with the hotspot.
That's kind of the wrong kind of sports electricity, Donnie. We want you definitely don't want to blow a transfer. Now, I know you watch a lot of sports. Maybe there was a lot of TVs on, Donnie. Maybe you were trying to multi-stream, but like something had to go wrong. It was somebody hit a pole, right, or something?
Somebody burned down a telephone pole.
Oh, literally?
Not hit it. They were burning stuff in their yard, and they burned down a telephone ball, and the whole thing exploded. I guess the transformer up there.
Okay, so this wasn't
Whatever
Philly. This wasn't a Super Bowl win. This wasn't we're gonna eat cow shit or something weird. Like someone just burned it down. Wow.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
burning brush in the yard, and it spread.
I mean, we do see it sometimes in the Super Bowl. Like people will knock down a power line or they'll knock down a street sign or something like that. Nope, this guy was just. I'm sorry, Donnie.
Just an idiot. But hey, shout out to the people who fixed it. It only took 12 hours. That's actually a really good time frame. I was expecting the whole weekend to not have any. So I felt good about it going in, Sunday night. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, hey, or Saturday night. I was like, hey, I got Wi-Fi back.
I'll be honest. I saw Perkins at 41%, and I want to do like a hindsight kind of look. Because when I was watching the Stallions game, I spent a lot of time with my parents this weekend as well, Donnie. So I was watching, but I wasn't as focused as usual. So like these injuries just stuck out to me. When I saw Manny Wilkins on the ground, and I remembered like, oh, on Friday night, we talked about it. We got Perkins a lot. He was 41% owned, and now we're going to see there was 2 injuries. Houston lost their quarterback, and then Manny got out, and then Mon played pretty well. I had him in a personal. But I thought for sure we played Perkins. He played the whole game, played well. I thought this lineup was going to cash. I'm like, Maribel is going to do enough. And, I don't know, man. It feels like you have to take shots because the prize pools are so low.
I mean, Teamu had a 32-point game, and Matt Corral had a 22-point game, and he was a little cheaper. So it was like the 1 week that he wasn't the best quarterback to play was the 1 week we played.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he wasn't the worst quarterback to play either. And at 41%, I'd rather take the risk of him going off, honestly.
Well, Gov, I'll let him kind of recap it himself when he joins us on Thursday. He wanted to do some of that and the draft, by the way. We do give you a Thursday lineup builder show. It's a bit more fun.
Thursday night is the NFL draft too, so I will have that on in the background. That takes precedent. My Patriots pick 4th.
Like I said, there's some free pools available. You guys should take advantage of all the free contests. I thought it might be cool if we took advantage of those free contests and then we kind of tracked it live on air. We could show people some of the stuff we did. But I know Gov was doing well in this contest as well. Like I don't know how he finished, so I don't want to spoil it, but I do see Double J up there. And that's kind of my point, Donnie. With how much we can't really get different, do you have to take a shot on one guy? Like, do you just play the chalk like a Perkins, and then you're like, I got to take one, chance and hope he gets 10 points? Like, how do we get back into winnings? Or is it just like consistency is going to win out? Because this lineup
really depends on the week.
Yeah. This lineup lost, and I don't feel like we did anything wrong. I think it was just a very balanced lineup, and it didn't have any, boom. For example, Sailors, the guy we keep fading, it seems like a good fade. He only got 6 points this week. But he's like the only running back to get 20 outside of Balaj. So maybe we should just play him because no one else is coming up. No one else is like a must play. So that's kind of what I was getting at. Do we just play the must plays and then get different somewhere else? Or I also thought Harris got very unlucky. He caught 3 passes.
I think
so. Go ahead, Donnie.
I think that's kind of what you have to do. You have to get the raw points. You have to in this league.
The raw points, yeah. Which is kind of a Gov thing anyways. I know he's not here, so I'll do a little bit of speaking for him. He always wants to focus on the raw points. That's why he jams in running backs in our NFL contest so often. Double J, we talked about him. He was only 10 points different than us. Still didn't cash. He went with the Perkins lineup as well. And this just shows, but I do think if you get one guy right, you're going to go way up. Like, you see how these guys are we're all jammed up, and I know these are small contests, and probably at this point, Donnie, if we're being honest, we're going into week 5. We're going to be playing a lot of the same guys, Gov's going to have a personal lineup in there. We're going to see some guys we know, like Double J. Our lineup will be in there. I do think it's kind of like where it's almost like maybe you do some roster studying of like, what's this guy doing? Was he more likely to do? And sometimes we take a chance. Like if I knew Perkins was 41%, I think I'd still play him and try to get different elsewhere. So I do think we have to pay attention to ownership. It'll be interesting to see Sailor. That's a good talking point, actually. So I'm glad we brought this lineup up because I'm curious to see Sailor's ownership next week. Gov was right, by the way. He said around 60. We got it, but he only got 8 points. This was his first actually under 10-point game this season. He's averaging 19, and I think he went down. I think 500 this week. So he actually went down, I believe. Do you expect the ownership to be drastically lower on him, Donnie? Do you think people are going to overreact?
I don't care about it. I care about the pricing of it, and I don't know what it is yet, so I can't really say.
I kind of set you up there because I knew about raw points. I think I'm at the point where I'm just going to jam him in because, like we said, we haven't really seen anything else. But I also brought that up to say we're going to be getting a new quarterback. Matt Duggan is going to be the quarterback going forward because Manny Wilkins was out, but actually of this podcast recording, as we were doing it live, they actually updated him to the IR. So I can almost guarantee it with some of the beat reporting as well. He is going to go on the 5-game IR. So he might make it back to the playoffs, it seems. Let's play some matchmaker here a bit, Donnie. So let's assume that Butler comes back either this week or next week. Does that influence your Sailors play at all? Would you be more likely?
I have to see him actually be back at playable level.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Max Duggan will be the lowest on quarterback this week? Like of the starters, or do you think enough attention will get up? Because I like this the Battlehawks offense. I mean, we played Persons before. I think he could be a play. Like I think Max is more of a passer. I think we're going to see.
I do know I like Max a lot. I mean,
he's a runner too, but he's not quite the runner Manny is. So I do think he's going to bring someone along. It might just be more dump off the Sailor.
I probably end up playing Max because I like him so much. Well, what did he finish with his stat line? I mean, I missed the game. So
I do not know, actually. I can try to find it. I'm sure he wasn't played at all.
Well, no, I'm sure he wasn't, but it's just the stat line. I was wondering if he had anything good.
I don't, but I have
but
a
if you don't remember, I'd have to watch the highlights before I played it.
I know he's like the cheapest quarterback this week because I put him in a dummy lineup, being the cheapest quarterback that is viable starter. Because I was surprised. I thought that Houston guys would be the lowest of the starters. Because Max is, even if you thought Max was a downgrade, which I do not think, I think him and Manny are somewhat similar in terms of talent. They do things differently, but I like this Battlehawks offense, Donnie.
I do as well.
He played most of that game because Manny did get hurt in the basically the first series of that game. But this was a bad appearance for him. But I wanted to give him a pass here because he didn't expect to start. I do believe in jitters. Maybe you could say that's bad professionalism. You should always be ready. But we are talking about a development league. Like we are talking about guys who, if they were already ready to be professionals, they would be in the NFL. I do think that the nerves got to him because he started playing better in that second half. But he still finished with 5 points, being the lowest quarterback. I think it could be a play this week. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I want to say Kellen Mond finally had a good game, by the way. Wade Phillips stepped down. So the offensive coordinator, okay, he was a special teams coach, and then he was the offensive coordinator for A.J. Smith. And then he became the head coach all in a 3-week span, Donnie. And he won his first game as a professional head coach. And that sideline went crazy. He went for it on 4th down to win that game. He was pulling all the stops. he had that team playing aggressive, had them playing loose and fun. I was really impressed from like a game theory and a DFS perspective how aggressive they were, because I don't think I think they could be a fun team to watch, but I don't think we care that much about wins and losses per se. Like we're not doing the power rankings. We just want the raw points, like you mentioned. And if he's going to continue to call a game that aggressively, I do think we have to notice the Stallions. I still think a big Kirkland game is coming, for example.
Yeah. He only had 4 points last week. I don't understand why the best receiver in the league, arguably, cannot find a way to get football.
And maybe
they're just not getting the ball.
Maybe it's time to jump off, Donnie, because Canella is cheaper than him, and Canella has outperformed him all season.
Right, and I've played both.
Yeah.
I've benefited from Canella and then also lost because Kirkland's in that same lineup. Like, I know the risk now at this point. It's like, if you're not going to use Kirkland, why not trade him?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say the thing about Sal Canella is that the Renegades just don't pass that much. Like they're a very run. Bob Stoops loves to run the ball, so like Sal at least gets there based on his opportunities. Like
I feel like every time I watch a Bob Stoops coach game, I get reminded that he won a national championship.
Yeah, dude, he
they
has
shoved that in our.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Tibbs. He is like the Tibbs of this football. Like he knows one way he wants to play. He will not adjust at all. Because I think South Carolina would
won a championship.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. Like San Antonio Brahmas throw 31 times, and Kirkland catches the ball like 4 times a game. Sal Canella gets like what 21 routes run. It seems like very low, but he's super efficient. Maybe you're right. Just play both of them this week. Anything else we want to mention?
That's it on my end. Otherwise,
Matt Corral got hurt late, but we don't know if that was a precautionary thing because they were losing. He looks like he banged up his hip pretty bad, but they don't have him on the injury report now. I could see Case Cook is starting this game. I don't know what happened to Alex Magoo. I think he's out.
He's on IR.
I figured he was, but like they don't mention him on the sideline. I don't see the guy. Like he's just like he totally like hit the medical room, I guess.
Yeah, he might just not be traveling with the team.
Could be.
It's so early in the year. He might just be. Maybe he was there and it just wasn't mentioned.
Yeah.
But no, the last closing point. I feel like this is my closing point a lot. You got a lot of sports going on this week between the NFL draft, UFL, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs for the hockey fans. Baseball has been good lately. Just a lot of good sports. Just enjoy what you can. Overall, like try to enjoy it. Don't make.
Speaking of enjoying though, Don, I was going to mention the UFL is starting to see some really good ratings. It doesn't even matter the platform like ABC. They broke the ABC record this last week. When the one time they were on FSN or FSN1, people wanted to clown them. They actually pulled a really good number. I know in Detroit, for example, the Michigan Panthers are drawing a huge fan base at Ford Field. Like people are paying attention to this league.
Birmingham doesn't bring many fans. There's a couple teams that don't bring many fans, but
my mom was not a fan of the Michigan Panthers, though. She didn't understand the Michigan and Panthers, like the whole logo.
I will say the name's weird. I like the jerseys, but the name's weird.
That's what she's like. She's like, I like the colors. You know, you got it with the maroon. I don't think she's.
I don't like the Stallions either. Like I don't like their name.
Yeah. I do think it's a great thing because the jerseys pop. My mom was like, wow, these jerseys look cool. Like, I do think it was the maroon, but the names are a bit strange. That would be a good point, Donnie. Do we see an expansion team next year?
I don't think next year. I think it's too soon, especially when we have too many injuries right now. I think 2 years from now, we'll have 2 more teams.
Yeah. Now, this will be the last one. if Gov was here, who do you think he would have wanted to talk about tonight? Anyone that we missed? Anyone that he would have gushed over that we?
I didn't watch the game, folks. I don't know.
Oh, that's it. You don't watch them at all. I'm telling you, it was mainly just watching car crashes. Like every of the starters that you thought might play well just got hurt. Manny got hurt. Corral got hurt. Henderson got hurt. It was a good week to take off. So with that being said, we'll join you again on Thursday. We'll do a lineup review. Hopefully the contest will continue throughout the year. If not, we have the draft. We have other content we can do, but I really enjoy the lineup builder shows. So I will continue to support this league whatever way I can. Even if the prize pools are low, that doesn't scare me away. There's still money to be won. I'm used to playing the WNBA, so go ahead, Donnie.
If the Patriots haven't picked yet, we will not be live. That's my rule. I need to see my Patriots pick.
Okay, I do have one draft topic, and this will lead us into the Thursday show. And I thought it was interesting. It was Todd McShay was talking on his podcast, and I really enjoy his new podcast he does in The Ringer. He's more transparent. It's more of a kind of open floor dialogue show where he can just tell you what he wants. Like if he wants to talk about quarterbacks that day, he talks about quarterbacks. If it's running backs, and he was doing basically a mailbag, and he was saying that when he talks to general managers and executives, Donnie, do you know how many players they actually want to hit on the draft? Because this was shocking to me that they were this honest with him. So out of 7 rounds, how many players do you think they're happy with if they're hit?
2.
See, okay, you were more aligned with them because I thought they would be going for more like 4, 4 of 7. They said if they hit 3, it's a great year in the NFL. They're like 3 is a great number. If we hit 2, we're happy. Isn't that kind of That's eye-opening. I just thought it was a good time.
That's exactly how I think too. Because if I walk out as a fan and I think, all right, well, our first rounder didn't hit, but we got 2 Pro Bowlers in our draft. Damn, that's a good draft.
I think me and you were a lot the same way.
I need a third guy to be like a role player, or at least a depth guy. But if I get 2 Pro Bowlers, oh my god.
Well, for example, when the Lions took Gibbs, everyone was like overreacting to like how bad of a pick it was. I'm like, it could be bad, but we don't know. Like these guys get paid.
It was bad value. You could have traded down 5 picks and got an extra third.
And that's why I brought it up, because it worked, but then you could still make that argument. I wouldn't disagree with you, Donnie, but like I don't do all the investment that these guys do. So
Ashton GT is worth the pick if the Raiders go with him, though.
On that note, good night, guys. I had to end it somewhere.